Hello, this is Eldoric The Guardian Tank, and yes, you are seeing it right. I'm going to be using a giant sandstone drake, who's also a warrior, but that's beside the point, to show you Mists of Panderia in the beta, how a warrior tank can handle a 5-man. Remember, we've been talking a whole lot about active mitigation, and I've already done a video on the druid. Go look it up for the beta, and as always, I'm going to throw down the disclaimer that I will be doing a more robust version of these videos where I show exactly the moves and present everything in a nice little package for you. But for the beta, because things change, I'm just going to go ahead and hop in and show you this stuff in a quick video. Before we even begin on that, I do have to show you, at least cursorily, the level of abilities you'll be using for this fight. First of all, you got Shield Slam. This is your primary move, and this is what everything hinders on. Basically, it's a lot of what you had before, but it's your main rage generator. So you really want to be getting that up as much as you can and using it. Then you also have Revenge. Not a lot of changes to Revenge, except for the fact that it produces Rage too. So you want to use that every time it pops up when you block, dodge, or parry. Devastate has now come a filler. You can just throw that out there when you have nothing else to use, and it's a great ability to use. So it also gives you your weakened armor effect, very much like you have with Sunder Armor. Then you have Heroic Strike. When you don't need to use your rage on defensive abilities, this is your go-to. Burn off rage, such as you're not taking damage or you're in the burn phase of a boss, and that's more important than surviving. You can even use it nicely in combinations with cooldowns, like let my minor cooldowns handle the damage, and I'll pour some more work into my own DPS and vice versa. So there's a good bit of it that you can actually do with this ability. Of course, I got Charge, must have it, and I have the ability that allows me to charge twice in a row. Okay, Victory Rush. Not a huge change. You can regain 30% of your maximum health, and this happens only after you actually kill an opponent. That gives you experience or honor. This can be changed by a talent. I'm going to show you that. For testing purposes, I have a Rage Regeneration, which basically gives me another dump for my Rage on a defensive level. It's okay. I actually think I prefer Impending Victory a little bit more here. Before this video, that's what we got to have. You can kind of go any way you want with that particular talent. Okay, Shield Block. This is your primary defensive Rage dump. What this is going to do for you is you're going to raise your shield and block every melee attack against you for 6 seconds. And this can also spill over, depending on your amount of mastery, into critical block. So basically, this is your physical damage go-to ability. Now, the other one you have to be concerned about is Shield Barrier. And this has changed a couple of times over the course of the beta. Originally, it was a flat damage reduction. Now, you can zoom up to 60 rage, so you can use it below 60 rage, which is actually kind of cool. You can use it between 20 and 60, and what this does, it increases the amount of an absorb shield you get, which is actually really cool because this absorb shield now allows you to use it either on physical or magical damage, and this is a little bit closer to what you have with the druid tank, who's the other rage tank. Is their ability, when properly glyphed, allows you to increase the healing that's being done on you. So that's good for both magic and physical damage. This allows the warrior to have a component that's good for magical and physical damage. So you get to decide between the two, but you're not losing totally out if you use this in lieu of using Shield Block. So I think that's very clever. And then you got the your AoE abilities. Of course, Thunderclap. All tanks have gone to use a model very similar to what the warrior already has in Thunderclap, that your AoE ability, your primary one, also gives you the Weakening Blows, which is your only remaining tanking debuff, and this, of course, lowers the physical damage by 10%. So you got, most warriors are going to be fine with this because they're used to doing it already. This is a nice non-change that the warrior has to go through, unlike everything else, which is huge change. I went with Shockwave. This is a talent. I'm so comfortable using this. I'm a firm believer that if something's stunned, it's not hitting you, which is survival, that I stuck with this, but there's other abilities you can go for. All of them have merit. Handle those in the different videos where I actually go through the talents, but just know that's what I have here. And then, of course, I have all the other standard abilities: Berserker Rage, Heroic Leap, and then Staggering Shout, which is actually a lot of fun. Alright, well, we got one person lagging behind, but that's okay. It's a DPS. And what kind of healer do we have? Ah, Shaman Healer. Okay. Alright. Pretty much we're going to go into this as we normally do with a warrior tank. Gonna enrage, gonna charge, thunderclap, get that AoE out there. But you cannot, and I repeat, cannot neglect using Shield, Slam, and Devastate. And Revenge. Because, again, you want to maintain as much rage as you possibly can, and those are the abilities that are really going to get it for you. So using single target abilities is very important, even in an AoE situation. Okay, just going to continue to plow through here. I do not like this room for obvious reasons. These guys kind of bounce you around, but not the end of the world. And cleave. One thing I like to say about this active mitigation is I'm always looking over to my resource bar. Can I use active mitigation? Always looking down at my abilities. Can I revenge? Do I have a free heroic strike coming out? All these things matter. So I care what buttons I'm hitting. I want to maximize that to maximize my survival, which is very important. So just keep that in mind as we go through, is that those kind of things we're going to kick. Yeah, well, I guess I didn't get to vote, but that doesn't matter. Let's go through this room. So active mitigation, you care a lot more about the abilities you're using all the time. You really want to do well there. You do get the feeling that if you play a druid and a warrior, that the warrior earns more rage, or earns it at least quicker than you get with the druid tank. So you can use their abilities a lot faster than you can with that other rage tank, which, believe it or not, makes them feel really different from each other. And I think that's fabulous. Alright, we're going to have to clear out this room a little. Trash, it's still fun. But I'll have to say this, again, with active mitigation, kind of looking at the doing trash, I'm still actively playing. I'm just not sliming through it like I used to do with a lot of the 5-man runs, because it didn't matter what I did. As long as I did my AoE moves, at least initially, I was good to go. Now you can see as a warrior, I'm mainly at the moment leaning on my shield block ability. Again, that's kind of the primary one. That's the one you want to be using the most. Because even in a situation like this, if I'm blocking everything that comes at me for 6 seconds and I can pretty much more or less maintain that, I'm in a good situation. Really decreases the damage I'll be taking. Okay, and all these guys run out. This is supposed to happen in here. Alright, this guy, he does a lot of stuns. You can avoid him, but I'm not too good at that yet. I've only done this place, I think, about 5 times, give or take. Alright, let's move in and take on the boss. Now, I say this every time, but it's important to remember. I went through all the primary rage generation and rage expenditure abilities, but just keep in mind, you still have regular, everyday cooldowns that you can use. And they've changed up. Of course, you still have Shield Wall. That's great. That's your big cooldown. You want to use it. But Demoralizing Shout has been changed. What that actually does is lower the damage everyone around you is doing by 20%, which I think is actually a cool take. Normally, abilities like that only affect you, as in you take less damage or you get more healing or something like that. Very rarely, or if ever, you have an ability that allows you to affect the damage of an opponent. So, kind of a cool take on that. It's I'm glad they didn't get rid of the ability and they changed it to something that sounds Yeah, a little more interesting. You know what I forgot to do? You gotta remember to get weakening blows. Luckily, the cooldown on that is pretty long. So, once you get that out there, you don't have to worry about it. As you can see it ticking away at the top there. I think I got 30 seconds between applications, which is a pretty long time, considering about maintaining a buff, so, or a debuff. Alright, too easy. Just hammering through. I think I'm gonna go ahead and use my other rage ability there, my shield barrier. Very nice even if you get stunned, because an absorption shield will still work then. Okay, just help out the tank. Why don't I go ahead and use a cooldown? Do a little healing. I'm going to go ahead and try to pull my rage here. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and shield block. Now I have it again. I can maintain it again. So I'll have 12 seconds of total block time. Every physical strike I'll have is a block, which is a good thing. And he's down. Alright. Can't use it. I hope that at least gave you a good idea of what you'll be looking at if you're a warrior tank and you go into the beta and in Mists of Panderia. The important things to remember is that even in AoE situations, Thundercrop is great. You're going to use it. It gives you weakening blows. But you absolutely must use Shield Slam and Revenge on cooldown. Also, your crit matters because that puts you in a rage state. And you want to use Berserker Rage when you don't have that. Keep your rage up and expending it well on your abilities is the key to being a top-end tank. And I think these changes are very positive for the war tank going in to the Mist of Panderia. So thanks for joining us. And also don't forget to check out the Guardian Tank podcast, available on iTunes.